I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get anywhere trying to convince him to escape.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about something, he won't listen to reason.
So that's one thing. A few other things come to mind too. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence, so on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why I suffered from constant headaches and fevers as a child. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits and pieces. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose it was Herm Anubis' way of trying to encourage me, even if we couldn't communicate. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Herm Anubis is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers, then...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Traditionally, such organizations are bound by a strict and ancient code of nobility. Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or the rules laid down by their ancestors. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal of our own.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on them!
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse. That's how we win this.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like to take a look at his grandfather's condition.
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering if you might let me take a look at your grandfather?
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here. I doubt you'll be able to tell us anything we don't already know.
Only one way to find out.
Follow me. Keep your voices down. We don't want to disturb him.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. I'm sure that your physicians have come to the same conclusion. He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by the heavy burden of work and now by the effects of old age. Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with patients in a similar condition, he doesn't have long left. A few days at most.
Yeah. I've known for a long time.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things differently. You have a broader range of concerns and a more pragmatic approach. So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution while Bamoon is still alive to see it. That's what really matters to you. I know it.
Yeah, there's no time to waste here. You know that better than anyone.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now. Both of you have a very different perspective from the men who raised you.
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've ended up having to make the tough decisions.
You're right. We both look at this problem very differently than the people we inherited it from. I accept, Cyno. This all began because of Hermanubis. So let's end it with the rite he himself created. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved their mettle by fighting over several days, winning the support of many fine people. That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence, and the sparring matches were enshrined as one of our founding rites, the rite of duels. It's where it all began.
Sounds very fitting. I'm in.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep. So I will permit you to participate in this rite, along with your chosen companions.
3 against 3. Sounds good.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights to win. And Cyno, both of us must put our Ba fragment on the line. The winner takes them both. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue that must be addressed for the Temple of Silence to move forward. I can make no concessions on that front.
None needed. We're on the same page. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus, and consider this past dispute resolved. If you win, I'll return my power to you.
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the ceremonial hall tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock.
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to return to the desert.
You have to win. You need this power, both as General Mahamatra and for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child. Surely that's a sign it thinks of you as its rightful owner.
Both as General Mahamatra and for myself. Yeah, when you put it that way. I've had to overcome a lot to tame this power and claim it for myself. Not everyone could have done that.
Exactly.
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. It's just as Dia said. Prejudice has pushed people apart. But there must be personal factors at work here too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamoon cares for many more things than he lets on. And I don't think that Sethos is any kind of villain. He's just doing what he thinks is best. Tomorrow, everything will be resolved.